M. Night Shyamalan has done it again. Or has he? Today we're looking at why Old, the new film from M. Night Shyamalan, is a masterpiece. This review will include some brief spoilers, but if you've watched the trailer, well, it's all been spoiled anyway. The film is about a group of holidaymakers who end up trapped on a beach that makes them age exponentially faster than normal. Children turn into teenagers, and then several hours later, those teenagers become adults. The concept of the film is that the holidaymakers have to get off the beach before they succumb to the inevitable erosion of time itself. Reviews were pretty scathing. The Observer says, if we can't believe the characters, how are we meant to accept the film's central premise? The story doesn't always stitch together because the characterizations are fleeting. When the end credits finally begin, you two will be wondering if your past hour could have been better spent. M. Night Shyamalan takes the best films and then throws them into the ocean because he has no idea what to do with them. And now I hear you saying, wait, I thought you said it was good. There are several reasons why I think M. Night Shyamalan's Old is actually a fantastic film for this year. Firstly, I think it's a very accessible film for a horror film. It's rated PG-13, which is basically the same as Titanic. The horror lies in the existential dread of coming face to face with age itself. It delves into the contemporary concerns of superficial perfection and social media. There are lots of references to social media in the film, and some of the characters aspire to this ideal of perfection, and later realise that none of it matters in the grand scheme of life. Secondly, I think the film fits very well into the time we're living. Most people during the pandemic were not able to travel, and unless you were rich, most people did not go on holiday. So the idea of finally going on holiday only to end up on a beach which kills you seems pretty relevant in the horror world. There's also the element of entrapment. The characters have nothing to do on the island and they are aging very fast. I don't know about you, but that kind of reminds me of lockdown. Being forced to sit there for months and months watching your life pass away as you come face to face with the very fears that you spend your life running away from. Is that lockdown or is that Old? I also think it's a very unique film. Hollywood has been saturated with sequels and safe films over the last few years, and Old does something which no one else has done in a very long time. It's unique, it's new. I can't think of any film which tackles these concerns in the same way that Old does. The film is based on the graphic novel Sandcastles. Well, I say based, it's almost identical. The ending has been added by M. Night Shyamalan, but that gives the film some closure. Some people say the mystery of the graphic novel was what made it so special, but I don't think the ending really adds or takes away too much from the graphic novel itself. I've seen a lot of people saying that there were some very questionable, explicit things in the film. The pregnancy scene, for example, seems very weird when you consider the age of the characters or the mental age of the characters. But what I would say to M. Night Shyamalan's defense is that actually in the graphic novel, it's worse. I feel like if he'd have strayed too far away from the graphic novel, he'd have been condemned for it. And by staying too true to it, he is also condemned for it. I think he takes some very difficult pages from that graphic novel and softens it a little bit, which is, I think, better for the most part. I think this film works very well for those who have been in lockdown, for those who have experienced a pandemic, who have watched their lives slowly fade away. It's one of those films that works so well in terms of time and context, and it quite literally is about time as well. Old is not a masterpiece. It could have been, but it's not. The lines feel wooden, and at times the film feels like a first draft rather than a polished product. Nevertheless, it's the time and context in which this film is released, the accessibility to most audiences, the existential dread the film brings, and the originality which, for me, makes it one of the best horror films of this year. What did you think of the film? Let me know in the comments. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. But that's why I think it is this year's best horror film. I'm Key James, thanks for watching, and until next time, have a good week.